happy Chinese New Year. This morning we're going to meditate few minutes. After that we have Dhamma talk and question and answer and chanting. Right now Kashanti is going to lead the loving kindness meditation.
All right, will you all find a comfortable position? Clear your minds. Take a few deep breaths. May I be well and happy, peaceful and free from suffering. May no harm come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May no problems come to me. May I always find fulfillment. May I also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome the inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May my teachers, my parents, my siblings, my friends and relatives, may they be well and happy, peaceful and free from suffering. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always find fulfillment. May they also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome the inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May those I meet in my daily life, may they be well and happy, peaceful and free from suffering. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always find fulfillment. May they also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome the inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. May those who wish me enmity, may those I have difficulty with, may they be well and happy, peaceful and free from suffering. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always find fulfillment. May all beings arisen in these realms, either with form or without, with perception or without, with consciousness or without. May they be well and happy, peaceful and free from suffering. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they always find fulfillment. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. Now continue with these thoughts, generating metta until you hear the sound of the bell. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Reverend Prashanti, leading the metta meditation. Right now, our Dhamma talk going to start. Today, our speaker, Reverend Kusala. Before he starts his Dhamma talk, I just want to mention few things. You all can see Mr. Nam is not here today. He was sick a little bit last few days. He was in hospital. Right now he's completely recovered and he's home. We went to visit him yesterday also. He will be here next Sunday. So next Sunday we have a Chinese New Year celebration. So we have a special blessing, a special Dhamma talk and the Sangha Dana. And please come and join. We have some gift for the lay people, which is the red envelope. We don't know what is inside. Could be some valuable things. So please come and join. We have all kind of food, Thai, Chinese, Vietnamese, and Sri Lankan food. Please come and join. It's going to be here around 11 o'clock, and the Dana and lunch is going to be in Ananda Hall. Please come and join again. Kusala, you can start your talk right now.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, well, happy Lunar New Year. It just keeps going on. I'm going to talk about the four immeasurables today, also known as the four Brahma Viharas, the abodes of the gods, because we're really faced with a lot of difficult circumstances right now. We have a election that not everybody likes, but that's always been the case. We have a fire in the Palisades in Altadena. 10,000, they say close to 10,000 buildings have been either damaged or destroyed. Just amazing. We have some rain coming in a few days, and everybody's freaked out about that because it might be mudslides. And so they got the K-rails up, and there's, they're opening Pacific Coast Highway today, one lane in each direction, but only for locals and people going to school. So we can't go and just look around. And it just keeps going. And you just sort of wonder, when does it ever get better? Well, according to Buddhism, there's three aspects to existence that we have to deal with. The first one is impermanence. We see that all around us. The second one is unsatisfactoriness. We see that all around us. And the third one is not self. And we don't see that because we think we are the self. And so it goes. So the four Brahma Viharas, what's the first one? The first one is loving kindness. And I like that because, in Buddhism, we don't just have love. We have kindness connected to love. So if you think you love someone and you can't be kind to them, that's not loving kindness. If you think you love someone and they want to leave and have a life without you, if you're practicing loving kindness, you help them pack and wish them well. And it's rare that anybody in relationship would think of it in that way, I think. And it's an intention. And I think that's one of the most important parts for me. Loving kindness is not an activity, according to me. Loving kindness is an intention that we upload and Reverend Kushanti did the loving kindness meditation, and that's always one of my favorites because it allows me to think in a little different way and perhaps have new intentions for the day. You know, sometimes you get up and you're just not in a really good mood, and the coffee's a little stale, and the donuts were 3 days old, and that's how you start your day. But if you can sit down and just reflect on the loving kindness sutta, may I be happy, peaceful, and free from suffering. And that really enables you to go out into the world and face it with a positive mental attitude. And you may not find anybody who wants to reciprocate and be kind and happy and joyful in your presence, but you can be kind and joyful in their presence. And that may change their day also. So loving kindness is an important aspect of the Buddhist path, and something that we can practice every day in just a few minutes and eventually see the results and feel the results. Now the second immeasurable, or Brahmavihara, is compassion. And I like to think of compassion as an activity. People say, I'm going to be compassionate, and then they don't do anything. Well, for me, loving kindness is the intention behind the activity of compassion. And what is compassion? Well, it's a lot of different things. And to give an example, I was speaking to my brother, who's a Coast Guard veteran and retired and lives in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was talking about the fire, and I mentioned that there was a father and son. And the son had some difficulties in leaving because of physical infirmities, and the father stayed behind, and they both died in the fire. And it was just an amazing example to me. And so I was speaking to my brother, and my brother said, wow, he was really brave to stay behind with his son. And I said, no, I don't think he was brave. I think he was compassionate. And then I thought to myself, well, what's the difference between brave and compassion? And perhaps it's only the fact that compassion has a heart connected to it, and brave not necessarily. So there are plenty of examples of compassion. Mother Teresa, even though some people think she was a little tough sometimes, but she just every day was an example of compassion and activity reducing the suffering in the world. And there sure is plenty to go around. So if we can practice the activity of compassion in even the smallest way, we also could be reducing the suffering in the world. Now, when I started this path, I tried to figure out what would be a good practice for compassion and generosity. What could I do? Because I didn't have a lot of money, and I didn't have a lot of skill when it came to compassion and generosity. And then it dawned on me. I said, well, you know what I could do is I could use vending machines and leave the change behind in the coin slot. Now, I don't know if you've ever found a quarter in a coin slot, but you just have this feeling that it's your day and it's going to be good. And I can't think of a better way to use a quarter, because if you were to hand somebody a quarter, they'd say, can you give me $1? But leaving it behind, and you can't take credit for it. And that even increases the generosity more. A lot of people are generous, but they want that certificate. And so, okay. So can we have the intention of loving kindness, and can we have the activity of compassion, and both those things together can reduce suffering in the world? The third immeasurable is sympathetic joy. And this is the hardest one of all. This one requires us to be happy when somebody is successful. When somebody is having a good day, their goodness makes us happy. When someone wins the lottery, we will be happy for them and not feel spited because we didn't win. This is when somebody has a birthday and you could care less, but you say happy birthday anyway because you're practicing sympathetic joy. You're now looking at the world around you and you're seeing all the people that are having bits and moments of goodness in their day, and you can get in on it and say, wow, wonderful, great luck. I'm so happy for you as you win the golf tournament. And everybody says, wow, yeah, he won the golf tournament. The deal is, I think, with sympathetic joy, is that most of us are too selfish to really express it well, because we were given this ego self-personality that allows us to survive in this very complicated world. And it's always about us. And it's hard to break that. The ego drives us to be the main person in our life. And I think that's one of the challenges of relationship, is to make the other person equal and oftentimes better than you are. And let the ego just sort of relax and get used to the fact that they are only one of the contributing factors in your life. And there are 999 other factors that contribute to your life. And to enjoy someone's success is to also be able to feel good in so many more ways. It's just not about us. So if you're having a bad day and it's not going your way, and you talk to somebody who is having a good day, that can transform your day in a positive way. You can feel better about yourself because they're having a good day. Sympathetic joy. That, I feel, is the hardest one of the four measurables. That takes a heck of a lot of practice, and not to get caught in. And finally, the last one, the most important one, the one that leads us to a place of balance and peace, is equanimity. Now, equanimity is an odd word because it means everything is equal. The left and the right are equal. The tall and the small are equal. Everything's equal. But when you start to study Buddhism and start to study about nirvana, what you find is that nirvana is not about happiness. Nirvana is not about joy. Nirvana is the ultimate peace. The ultimate peace. Perfect balance of mind. No attachment, no aversion. Now, we can experience moments of this equanimity and peace, this profound peace, in our meditation practice. If we sit and focus on, for instance, the breath and the sensation of breath and go into these deep states of jhana or tranquility, what you find is there is an inherent inner peace that's always with us. Even though sometimes we feel that we might be going out of control because the world is such a difficult place to live and it makes no sense at all. And you know less than you did 10 years ago. I love the phrase when somebody says, well, you know, what's the point of life? Or what kind of car do you have? Or what are you going to have for lunch? and your only response is, I don't know. I don't know. And why is it important not to know? As we get older, our job is to be less. And as we're younger, our job is to be more. Ram Dass talked about it a lot, saying that we're in somebody training when we're young. And we're going to school, and we have parents, and everybody's telling us what to do and how to do it, and then we become somebody, and that's how we identify with ourselves, and that's how other people identify with us. And then at some point, as we age, we get to a place where we go into nobody training, and you become nobody, in the best sense of the term. So you're nobody special. And one person, much wiser than I, said, no matter how long you meditate, you'll never get any better. I thought, wow, yeah. Because every time you sit down and meditate, it's always the first time. You've never done it before in that way. This is the first time. And if you meditate for years and years and years, you get really good at doing it again for the first time. I thought, wow, that is so cool. I was at Leisure World yesterday, a retirement community in Seal Beach, 7,500 old people, my peer group, my friends. We all have a lot in common. The average age is 76 years old at Leisure World. I thought, wow, one more year and I'll be the average age. Cool. And we have some wonderful discussions. We talk a lot about life and death. And you wouldn't think old people would care that much about life and death. But they do. They do, because that's one of the most important conversations we can ever have with each other. So I started going to Leisure World in 2012. That's a heck of a long time. And in a way, it's like going to high school. And if you've been to high school, you realize most of your friends are there for about 4 years. And then everybody splits up and tries to have a life and a career and a relationship. Not everybody lasts a long time at Leisure World. They come and go. It's one of the realities of being around aged people, is that it's temporary. And what can we learn from that? I said to myself, what can I tell people? That it is an amazing chance to be grateful. Because as I sit in Playhouse number 4 yesterday, where all the chairs were set up and stuff, I realized as I look at everybody that in 4 years they may not be here. In 4 years I may not be there. In 4 years the chairs may not be there. So what's so cool about today? Grateful that everybody's here. Because it may never happen again in this way. Because it can't. Everything changes all the time. So new people show up, old people check out. And what's the best part of about being nobody? Somebody once said, nobody dies well. Ooh. So if you want to die well, it's best to be nobody. So how can we do that? How can we put aside our ego and our self and become nobody for a while? Meditation. So many aspects of meditation allow us to go into these different places. But as you sit quietly and watch your breath and focus, and in and out, all of a sudden you start to get a little bit more transparent, ego-wise, and a little bit lighter, ego-wise. And then you can tell if you're making progress, especially here in this endo, when the helicopter flies over. And that noise that the helicopter produces never turns into a helicopter. Wow, what does that mean? You might say to yourself. That means as soon as we can identify the sound, we no longer hear it. As soon as we can identify the subject, we can no longer see it. So I can look at this form, and once this form turns into a chair, I can no longer see the form. I'm seeing a chair. and the concept of a chair and how a chair is spelled and all the chairs I've sat in and giving it a value. Is this a good chair or is this a bad chair? Would I want to have this chair or would I not want to have this chair? All those concepts arise. And those concepts are being created by self and ego because we need to know what we're seeing in order to use it. So when I see that wall and I see a rectangular square cut out in it, I can say to myself, well, that's a door. And I've used a door many times in my life. So I know how to open it, I know how to close it, I know how to come in, I know how to go out. That's all ego. Wow. So if you can see the door and not know what it is, I don't know. Ego now is sort of pushed aside. And what you find is a very spacious place. You have much more room without the ego defining your reality for you every moment of every day for the rest of your life. Now, can we stay there? Can we stay in the ego-less state? No. We always have to come back. Because we have to eat, we have to drive a car, we have to work, we have to feed cats, we have to buy shoes. We have all sorts of stuff we have to do. And in order to do that, we have to be somebody. And when we are somebody, we are separate from our reality. And that way, we can use the reality to our benefit, to stay alive. Wow. Okay. That is the idea in getting ready to pass to the next lifetime, according to Buddhism. You may not be a Buddhist and not look at afterlife in the same way Buddhists do, but we have a lot of places to go after we die, and we need to let go of this place in order to get ready for the next place. I'm hoping Paulus Verdes next lifetime, but no guarantees. So we'll see how it goes. And as we are, getting ready to transfer to the next lifetime, we have to start letting go. Letting go of a lot of stuff. And in our meditation practice, if we've been doing it on a regular basis, every time we sit down in meditation, we practice letting go. We practice letting go of watching the football game, or eating lunch, or having another cup of coffee. We let go of all of these things for those 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And we become free for a while. And that freedom is hard won. You've been practicing now for a really long time. You follow the 5 precepts. You read the Dhamma. You listen to talks. And finally you've come to a few moments of freedom and peace. And you go, wow, cool. I wish I could live there. I can't though. But I can visit. I can remind myself that it's available. That's an opportunity that I can experience when I meditate. And the idea is to get to that place where you can let go and feel comfortable, and then bring it all back. And then let go, feel comfortable, and bring it all back. And get off that cushion and walk out that door and practice loving kindness. And when somebody cuts you off on the 405 freeway, may they be happy, peaceful, and free from suffering. Instead of extending your arm and your hand and your finger in their direction, you just go, wow. I posted something on Facebook the other day, which got a lot of likes. And it was this van, and it was a white van, and on the back of the white van were some words. And so we had, I can't hear you, I'm an old person, I can't see your finger, have a nice day. We should all get that. So that's sort of like, that's what it is. We're in there and we don't want those tire tracks on our back. We just want to let everything just slide off us and go past us. We want to be in the flow. We want to go through the day. We want to experience the highs and lows, but not get attached to the highs and not be repulsed by the lows. And feel that equanimity and that perfect balance that our mind is capable of having. And the 4 Brahma Viharas, or the 4 immeasurables, is one way to remind us that all that stuff is possible. And there are people doing it every day. And we could be one of those people. So I'm going to stop there and see if anybody has any comments or questions or wants the bumper sticker. Here's a Okay. Yes.
No, thank you. I think it's quite insightful and about letting go. I had a practical question because right now during these times I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people who are here in this country. I would say undocumented, and most people think all undocumented people are Latino or something, but actually there's many Asians as well. So what do you, it's trying to figure out how to talk with them and help them. I mean, there's some practical things, but they're in the position of, they don't want to let go, they want to be in, and they want to hold on to something and try to get something more. So what you told us is actually very useful for letting go when you do have a lot of stuff to let go of. But if you have less of that and you want to strive to be here, or you want to strive to have some sort of life and all the things that we might be letting go of, actually, I think that they might actually have the opposite feeling. So I'm just curious, when you encounter, I don't know whether you have friends or colleagues who might be undocumented now, but it's actually a very bad time. So how do you counsel them, or how do you, I don't know, I mean, how can you be compassionate? You could be practical on certain things, I have recommended certain legal technical ways, but I'm just curious as a as sort of a Buddhist counselor and yourself, and how do you deal with people who are less letting go, but they actually want to.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a good answer, but that's a good question. There's always been mass migration. Everybody's always moving around this earth of ours. And if you look at the earth from the space, you don't see any lines. There's no, states or countries. It's just water, mountains, clouds, lightning over there, So there's always been that. And even back like the Neanderthal days and stuff like that, they were migrating. I guess they say one time Europe and North America were connected by land masses, and the people would walk, and so we have all these footprints sort of thousands of years old of just people walking around, And then you got the dinosaurs walking around too. And you don't want to get one of those guys. So I think every country has laws about that. And of course, laws are arbitrary. The laws are always changing. New ones are being made, old ones are being thrown away. So it's difficult. And you're right about people, they always want more, And I was reading something the other day on Facebook that said the most affluent people have enough. And that's something, if you don't have enough, then you're always striving to have more. And even when you do have enough, you still want more, And so can we get to a place where we have enough? And can we figure out the best place to live? Now, even in the context of Los Angeles, there are some places where some people don't want to live, And there are other places where people do want to live. And so they're trying to figure out how to get from the place they don't want to live to the place they do want to live. And then you find people that actually ended up in a place where they wanted to live, and the damn place burned down. And now they got to rebuild the whole thing. And that just is so mind-blowing for me. They say it's going to take 2 to 5 years to build a house. It's going to take a year and a half to get rid of the rubble. Where are they going to put all the rubble? Some of it's toxic. You know, and you just look at this stuff and you go, man, that's impossible. But while all this stuff is going on, and while there's fear and dread about the future, you know, what are you doing today? What does this present moment offer you? And oftentimes, it offers you the answer. Now, that answer is not an intellectual one. It's not going to the lawyer and filling out the forms. You're just sort of like, you know, minding your own business, doing something, walking down the street, and then you got it. It dawns on you. This is what I need to do. But you can't tell that to people who are worried about their life and where they're going to live and their future. So if I was going to interact with them, what I would do is I would listen. Because I don't know anybody who's got the answers. There's legal recourse, there's illegal recourse, there's ways of, you know, but I don't know anybody who can tell another person, this is what you need to do. Because they're telling them what they think they need to do. So being a good listener would be a way of practicing compassion. The second one. And maybe in the dialogue that you have with the person, ideas will spring forth. And you'll have a little better idea. But one of the things they're going to pick up on you listening is that you care. And I think a lot of them feel nobody cares. And so if you can be with them and care about what they're going through, that's going to make a difference in their life. That's all I can come up with. So, yeah. Okay. Hi.
This is kind of silly, but I just wanted to share. There's this online video game that I play casually. A lot of people play it very intensely, so oftentimes I would have teammates, you're so bad, what are you doing, why are you playing like that, what are you doing? I've actually muted that, so I don't see it anymore. They could say it, but I don't see it. And then at the end of the match, you have a chance to commend them for good teamwork or good skills or whatever, and I do that, but I realized I could be doing that to somebody who's been barraging me with terrible comments the whole time, but what you were saying before makes me feel like maybe that's just the way to go, you know, just a blind eye to that and still sharing the...
Yeah, no, and exactly. The Buddha talked about anger and hatred. And he says it's like having a metal bowl of hot coals and you're holding on to it. And if you're angry and hateful and then start, you know, reaching out to other people, what you're trying to do is make them hateful and angry too. And you could say, I don't want the hot coals today, thank you. I don't want that gift from you, that gift of anger, thank you. And then you could practice is sympathetic joy, you know, thankful that that he or she is not any worse than he or she is. And then you could practice loving kindness. May all the people I don't like in this world be happy, peaceful, and free from suffering, even you know, to that person. And so there are ways, you know, to sort of trick your mind into not feeling the anger and the resentment and be peaceful and kind. So that's the challenge. You know, Buddhism is really about skill and a skill level. And if you're playing games, video games and stuff, there are all these different skill levels. I never started doing that. I like ping pong myself, you know, and pinball machines too, and you know, just old school. So how high can we make our skill level in Buddhism? How many different situations can we find ourselves in and still feel peaceful and whole, and not be fragmented and angry. You know, and that's the challenge. So you're lucky that you have some places to practice, you know, and some people to practice with. That's good. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well. Oh, Steve, how you doing, man?
Doing fine, Michelle. Thank you, as always.
Okay.
In this great pinball machine that we're living, is the high score more or less equanimity?
Absolutely. The highest score is having equanimity and peace in every situation. Mm-hmm. And that's the challenge, I think, to find the path that leads there. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah.
If you have peace, you have equanimity.
Well, I think for me, both those words are similar. Equanimity seems to be more of a mind state, and peace seems to be more of a heart state. I have peace in my heart, and equanimity in my mind. But those are just words and games, you know.
You call these the four vihars, something vihar?
The four Brahma Viharas?
Brahma viharas.
Brahma Viharas, abodes of the gods. Brahma God, Vihara, abode. Or the four immeasurables, whichever is easier. One's Mahayana, one's Theravada.
Why immeasurables?
I don't know. That's just what it says on page 34.
And that's the theme of your talk today, is to acknowledge the things you don't know.
Well, it's always good to not know, because that means you'll find out or you won't, and either way, it won't matter. All right. Well, I think, we're just about there. Thanks for joining me today, and have a wonderful day, and may you find peace and happiness even in Los Angeles today.
Thank you. Right now we're going to chant the page 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to study them all. Deluding passions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them all. Dhamma grades are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fair struck fearlessly. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. Thank you for everybody again. And again, the next Sunday we are celebrating the Lunar New Year. Please come and join with us. We have tea and cookies right now. And again, thank you for everybody. And the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, you all be well and happy. Sadhu.